Good evening, I'm Karen Harch.
And I'm Nolan Johannes. Tonight in the news.
The first scientific test results at White Deer Elementary and Milton Senior High are back. I'm Dan Fiorucci. I'll have the story.
I'm Bob Costantini, live in Nanticoke, where they're still negotiating.
Plus, Action 16 investigates a housing problem in Wilkes-Barre.
Joe Zone has the basketball. Tom Clark will tell us about the snow.
All next on Newswatch 16 Update.
Brides-to-be, are your wedding preparations becoming so hectic that you're experiencing the wedding bell blues? Well, you and a guest are cordially invited to attend wnep-tv's Bridal Fair on February 5th and 6th at Genetti's Motor Inn in Wilkes-Barre. You'll see exquisite bridal creations, china, and everything you need for your wedding and married life.
Register for your free invitation at Wyoming Homes or at Gus Genetti Best Western Motor Inn. Blast off for adventure with Buck Rogers tomorrow.
In your car, listen to Newswatch 16 on WKRZ AM 1340.
Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Joe Zone on sports. This is the Newswatch 16 update.
Good evening. The results of asbestos tests in the Milton area school district are back.
The Milton School Board tonight released the results of asbestos tests that were taken at 2 schools in the Northumberland County District. But as Newswatch 16's Dan Fiorucci reports, it's still not clear if there is a hazard in the school buildings.
It was just last week that Newswatch 16 told you about asbestos air testing at Milton Senior High and White Deer Elementary School. Asbestos testing that made use of low-power pumps that sampled a relatively small amount of air, about 180 liters. Tonight at a special school board meeting, the preliminary results of those tests were announced, and they showed a fiber count of 0 to 1/10 of a fiber per cubic centimeter. That's about average for a school contaminated with asbestos insulation. The problem is, no one knows if that means the air is safe, because tonight's preliminary results were gathered with a phase contrast microscope, a device EPA says can be highly misleading when used to analyze asbestos. More accurate electron microscope tests won't be back for 2 weeks. Despite the uncertainty, some parents and teachers favored immediate reopening of the school.
We are very concerned. I've been teaching in that building for years. I'm on the asbestos kit committee. Yes, I am concerned. My son went through that school. My daughter's going through that school. I want it out too, but I also know that we can wait 4 months.
And so even though the asbestos hazard is still about as uncertain as it was 2 weeks ago when these buildings were closed down, and even though nobody really knows how many fibers may be shaken loose if students start walking through these halls again, there is some sentiment to reopen the buildings. The school board is expected to make a decision within the next few weeks. Dan Fiorucci, Newswatch 16, Milton Senior High.
The concern over asbestos will keep some Nanticoke area schools closed tomorrow and Thursday. Outside consultants were in 3 elementary schools and Nanticoke's junior high school trying to find out if asbestos threatens the health of students there. Air monitors are being used to measure for any dangerous asbestos fibers. The 3 elementary schools closed through Thursday, along with the junior high, are Kosciuszko, K.M. Smith, and Lincoln Elementary in Nanticoke. Tonight in Nanticoke, the school board and the teachers talked for the first time this year about a new contract. Night Beat reporter Bob Costantini is live now in Nanticoke to tell us if there's any end in sight to that long-standing, over 2-year-old complaint. Go ahead, Bob.
Nolan, it's hard for us to tell you if there is any end in sight. The wait continues here with a whole bunch of parents out in the hall of the John S. Fine Senior High School. Down the hall there is where, in separate rooms, the school board and the teachers' unions are meeting and negotiating with state mediator Anthony Andreoli, shuttling back and forth between both sides. There are some concerned parents here. This session apparently got through the grapevine about being here. Let's talk to a couple of them. Ladies, can you tell us exactly what you're doing here and what you hope to accomplish?
Well, we're here in support of marathon negotiations, and we hope to accomplish walking out of here tonight with the teachers having a contract.
Do you think it's possible to accomplish that?
It's possible if they're serious about really
negotiating, and it's been going on so long, and we're just fighting for our children's education. They're entitled to it, and the length of this teacher's contract dispute has just gone on too long, and they're denied this.
Do you think the school board and the union can know that you're here?
I'm sure they know we're here.
They know we're here.
I mean,
we're not leaving.
They're going to take that into consideration.
They're going to have to.
They better.
This is our children's education, and they should have it.
Okay.
And they're not having it.
All right, thank you very much. Well, the wait continues here at John S. Fine High School in the hallway. Some of the parents are going to remain here, and we're going to remain here, and we'll tell you about it if during the newscast something comes out of all this. Bob Costantini, live with the Instacam in Nanticoke. Nolan, Karen?
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Fire in Nanticoke tonight has damaged a double-block home. This was the scene shortly after 7 tonight at 115-117 West Church Street. Fire officials say the flames apparently got their start in the bedroom of the Szejecki family side of the building. No one was hurt in the Nanticoke blaze, and a pet cat was even saved from the fire. A West Pittston man was badly burned tonight at his home on Clyde Street. 28-year-old Robert Coyle is in critical condition at the Crozier-Chester Burn Center near Philadelphia. Fire officials tell us Coyle was doing some remodeling work when some solvent ignited his clothes. Coyle's father wrapped his son in a blanket, and fire officials say that prevented even more serious burns. Nolan?
Karen, in Scranton, fire inspectors are still hoping, that is, to find the mysterious gasoline leak on Moosic Street. Crews are working day and night to find the sources of gas fumes that have forced several businesses in that area to close down. Since the problem started last week, officials have narrowed down their search to the Amico station on Moosic Street, but they still haven't figured out which of the station's 6 underground tanks is leaking. PG&W says it's figured out a way to bring uncontaminated drinking water to some 41,000 customers who right now can't drink their water. At a news conference late this afternoon, PG&W announced it'll try to tap into other reservoirs to get drinking water for about half the customers served by the contaminated Springbrook Reservoir. If the plan is approved, these communities would be switched over: Edwardsville, Pringle, Luzerne, Kingston, Swoyersville, Forty Fort, Wyoming, West Wyoming, and a portion of Exeter. But that's only a plan. If you live in one of those communities or anywhere in the water warning area, you're still advised to boil your drinking water. The water plans caused other problems today. Some PG&W customers in Kingston found dirty water coming from their taps, and that meant dirty laundry. PG&W says if this happened to you, you can file a complaint with the utility.
If you want to learn more about the water problems and giardiasis, the intestinal disease that now has 244 victims, take a good look at your TV screen. Educational sessions have been set up at these locations: the 44 Municipal Building this Thursday at 6:30 and 8 o'clock at night. Also at Our Lady of Sorrows Church in West Wyoming on Tuesday, January 24th at 7 p.m. At all 3 sessions, you'll be asked to take a test on giardiasis, so bring a pen or a pencil. Coming up next, Action 16 investigates a housing problem in Wilkes-Barre.
A family with 4 children finds itself desperate for some help tonight about living conditions in their Wilkes-Barre apartment building. So Action 16 reporter Gerry Gartenburg goes to bat for the O'Boyle family.
I've been living like...
When Frances O'Boyle wrote us last week, she was concerned whether it was safe for her family to live in the apartment they've been renting for the last year. Inside the O'Boyles' apartment today, we found plaster peeling off the walls, exposed electrical sockets, and a broken thermostat. Last month, part of the kitchen roof came tumbling down, striking Mrs. O'Boyle's little boy on the head. Since 1978, city officials have asked the landlord to correct the problems in this apartment and the 5 others he owns. Mrs. O'Boyle says the landlord promised to straighten out the problem inside her apartment almost a year ago, right after she moved in.
And he said in the summer that he was going to fix it for us so my kids can have a decent place to live, and it's been like this ever since. He won't do nothing.
And here on the outside of this house at Northampton Street, conditions are no better. In fact, this whole row of houses fire officials describe as a matchbox, ready to go up in flames. And just a couple of months ago, that house on the corner there did go up in flames. What's left of it is the pile of rubble out back there. The landlord, Henry Gerhardt, refuses to pay for the pickup. But all the problems here haven't stopped Mr. Gerhardt from sending Mrs. O'Boyle this eviction notice. We wanted to know why.
She's unfit to live as a tenant. She makes a mess, and she don't pay rent.
I said, the money that he wants from me, I said, I won't pay him until my house is decent enough to live in.
Tomorrow, health and housing officials from Wilkes-Barre will be at Northampton Street to inspect Mrs. O'Boyle's house and the other houses owned by Mr. Gerhardt. And unless they see striking improvements, they say they'll recommend that the houses be closed and condemned as unfit for human habitation. Gerry Gartenburg, Action 16.
In Washington, the Supreme Court has decided that it is legal for people who own videotape recorders to tape whatever television programs they want for their own use. Producers of expensive Hollywood films like Star Wars had claimed that home video cassette recording violated copyright laws. But the Supreme Court decided today that the laws on the books now don't say anything about video recording for home use. The justices said it may well be that Congress will take a fresh look at this technology, but it is not our job to apply laws that have not yet been written. Last week, the Supreme Court let stand a controversial policy in the Detroit Police Department. For every white officer who was given a higher rank in the department, one black officer also had to be promoted. But today, the U.S. Civil Rights Commission came down hard on such minority quota systems. The group says racial preference merely constitutes another form of unjustified discrimination and creates a new class of victims, whites or males.
Church leaders in Williamsport say it's an issue involving the separation of church and state. That's why the clergymen voted no today to a proposal from Williamsport's mayor. The mayor wanted churches and other tax-exempt groups in town to each donate $300 a year to help pay for the services the city provides. But the clergymen were afraid the contributions would set a precedent that would go against the separation of church and state. Still ahead, the turtle with the plastic flippers.
But first, meteorologist Tom Clark will head outside to tell us how much white stuff is headed our way.
Tom?
The rumor is true. It is going to snow here tomorrow. But there's a full moon outside now, and I'm going to go outside and stand beneath it with the latest information about tomorrow's snowstorm. It's coming.
Well, let's go to our legal meteorologist right now and find out about all the weather. How's it out there, Tom?
Well, Nolan, I was just concerned. I wonder if I'd be arrested if this cold spell continues.
We'll protect you, fella.
It's a good idea.
Put me in the clinker overnight. Hey, we do have a full moon overhead, almost a cloudless sky, and it's called a full wolf moon at this time of year because in the cold of January, the Indians used to hear the wolf packs howling for food outside the villages. Believe it or not. Let's look at the temperature now in the backyard. Under the moonshine, we have a reading which stands at 25 degrees. The humidity is 80%, the wind southwest at 9 miles per hour, and the barometer is rising up there pretty high, 30.35 inches. Range in temperature today, 29 for the high, that low this morning, 17. Not too far from the normals. Okay, for this date, the record's 55 and 10 below, back in that cold and miserable winter of 1977. And that's a shot there from a home in Scranton where somebody is soon going to have a job to do. Coming tomorrow. How about snowfall so far this season? Well, the average seasonal snowfall up to the middle of January over the past 40 years is about 19 inches. But so far this season, the National Weather Service here at the airport has measured just under 12 inches. So indeed there is a deficit, but we will lessen that deficit by tomorrow night. The satellite picture looks like this from overhead. We have some clouds in the east and some cold temperatures out in the west. It is now 25 below zero out in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and that's quite cold. But there is trouble down to the south. As you can see, Down this way here, lots of clouds building over the deep south, a lot of rain falling now along the Gulf Coast, and quite a bit of cloudiness now over Texas and up into Missouri. Some heavy snow falling now in Oklahoma and Missouri, and it's all moving our way ahead of a storm system developing down over Texas tonight. Strong winds in the upper atmosphere steering this precipitation towards Pennsylvania at about 40 to 50 miles per hour, and we'll get here tomorrow morning. Forecast for the balance of tonight looks like this: some clouds overhead and some moonshine up there as well. Good night for sleeping. 18 in Sugar Run up there in Bradford County. And in Moscow, the low tonight, 17. And I had some Cub Scouts and their parents visit me here at the Channel 16 Weather Center tonight, and they drove in from Moscow, a cold spot. 20 in Berwick, 21 in Pottsville, and about 18 the low tomorrow morning in Lock Haven. Now the snow begins at about 11 o'clock. Between the mid and late morning hours, the steady snow should begin to fall lightly, and high temperatures close to 30 in most places. The heaviest snow will come late in the afternoon and tomorrow evening. 4 to 5 inches of snow should accumulate from this storm, but it will not stall. It'll race out of the area tomorrow night. Your health watch looks like this on a Wednesday. Well, if you're weather sensitive, you may not be in a very good mood, and your resistance to aches and pains may be just a bit on the low side as well. A low barometer and high humidity contributing to that. Partly cloudy tonight, the high tomorrow 30 in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. About 4 inches of snow, I expect, in the Valley cities, Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, by 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Nothing too heavy, but enough to shovel and plow. Colder air comes in on Thursday, only 16 on Friday for the high. The weekend doesn't look too bad at this point. It's on the way, gang. Snow coming in tomorrow morning.
Okay, we'll look for it.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom. Coming up, the tale. That's tale, T-A-L-E, of a turtle whose luck has turned.
Plus, high school basketball, the Super 16 game of the night. Joe's own the 16 Sports Screen next.
For Northeastern and Central Pennsylvania's first and only local early morning newscast, join Frank Andrews, Dorothy Lucy, Jay Christopher, and meteorologist Noreen Clark for the most complete morning coverage of news, weather, and sports. During these winter months, turn to Newswatch 16 this morning at 6:30 a.m. for a complete list of school closings, road and weather conditions, along with the most accurate coverage of the news overnight. Newswatch 16 this morning, each weekday at 6:30 a.m. At Newswatch 16, the news comes first.
Hello.
Is that for me or you?
Yeah, move Joe's teleprompter with the scores. We want to see the scores. That's what we want to see.
Big game tonight.
We got a lot of stuff. If you blink, you miss it, okay?
Okay.
Let's go to the board. The sports screen has got it. All righty? Let's check out the big one tonight, and that's going to be between our numbers 4 and 9 teams, Scranton Tech and Scranton Prep. Prep is in white. Let's pick it up inside. Number 21, Carmen Saeta to Rich Janney. He drives and scores. Now for Prep, number 12, Joe Hessling hits the jumpers from the top of the key, and he scored. Now, watch Rich Baviglia. Intercepts a Raider pass, takes it all the way. He had 30 points tonight for Prep. Big matchup. Our 4s and number 17, Ellis Lewis misses butt. Watch Mike Torbix there to put in the rebound. 32 points for him. And now they move inside. Saeta to Yanni. He drives and scores, and we're done with it like that. I'll tell you the story. There's the upset. There's the final. 81-76. Tech has pulled off the win. Elsewhere, Abington beats Central, our number 5 team. Moving right along, and I'm hoping for more. Bishop Hannon and North Pocono in the Lackawanna South were winners. NAC Lackawanna Trail on Elk Lake. Mountain View and Wallenpaupack also won. Tri-Valley, Kishokokias, and Halifax were the winners. Schuylkill League number 3, Pottsville and Blue Mountain winners. Mount Carmel and North Schuylkill. Minersville and Pine Grove also won their games. Marion and number 6, Lords Regional. Number 10, Tamaqua and Freeland MMI. Jim Thorpe and Panther Valley won their games. Okay, the first half title on the line in the West Branch League tonight. Our 15th ranked team, Loyal Sock, there in the maroon against Lewisburg, and Tim Carlson was there.
A tight one all the way. First half action. Watch Bob Willem find Andy Swirsky outside and 2 of his 18 tonight. Then Loyal Sock's Lynn Hooper takes it all the way. He led the Lancers with 26. Willem, the Dragons playmaker, again into Darren Thomas for the easy bucket. Jim Webb now with the pass inside to Scott Tate. That keeps the score close. But watch Lynn Hooper again with a nice move to the baseline and hits the left-hander off the glass. Now on the steal, watch Lewisburg's Bob Woolham again. He'll go all the way, and it's going to fall, and a three-point play. But not enough, as Loyalsock wins the West Branch first half title 51-49. Tim Carlson, Newswatch 16 Sports, Lewisburg.
Okay, more scores now. West Branch, there you see Loyalsock's game, and Montoursville won their game. South Williamsport and Bald Eagle Nittany the winners. Central State, Bishop Neumann and Bellefonte. And Penns Valley in the Central State League. Elsewhere, Mid-Penn, Columbia, Montour, Votech, and Southern Columbia. Number 12, Northeast Bradford and Athens. Now we're in the Northern Tier East. Waverly and Wyalusing. And Sayre won tonight. In the West, number 14, Gaelton and Mansfield. Wellsboro and Elkland. All right, in the Wyoming Valley Conference tonight, our number 16 team, Crestwood, against GAR. GAR now in the white uniforms. Action underneath. Number 44, Maurice Burton, picks up the loose ball, hits from the foul line. He had 18 points. Now, for Crestwood, number 33, John Hellick passes inside. Number 21, Tom Benz for the layup, and he scores. Now for GAR, number 44, Callahan hits the jumper from the corner. He had 16 points. GAR, the big winner tonight. Wyoming Valley Division II. Let's check it out. Okay, Crestwood knocked off Dallas, beat Lake Lehman. Myers over Hanover area. Division I, Hazleton and Tunkhannock winners tonight. Coughlin, number 11, Valley West. Centennial, first half title Nazareth over Salisbury. East Penn, number 8, Allentown Central Catholic and Allentown Deereth. Phillipsburg and Northampton. Bethlehem Liberty also now in the Centennial League. Northern Lehigh, number 13 team in Stroudsburg. Palmerton and East Stroudsburg. High school basketball, Quakertown, Whitehall, Parkland also won tonight. University of Scranton on the road in Lemoyne tonight, and Scranton loses 69-62, a tough Lemoyne Division II school. Okay, college basketball scoreboard, there they are. University of Scranton knocked off by Lemoyne. Misericordia Eastern College, didn't hear from those folks. Florida knocked off number 3, Kentucky. Maryland beat Clemson. Elsewhere, college basketball, NBA, okay, Philadelphia beat Detroit, New Jersey over New York. Boston and Milwaukee, the winners in the NBA. Atlanta beat Utah in that game. Houston over Denver, 124-115. Some of the LA Raiders didn't exactly start Super Bowl week off on the right foot. 7 of them, including starting quarterback Jim Plunkett, showed up late today for the first meeting in Tampa. That'll cost the 7 $1,000 apiece. Quickly now to the National Hockey League scoreboard, and we'll see that Philadelphia beat Montreal, Quebec over Boston, New Jersey and Hartford played the tie, and Washington beat Winnipeg 7-2. I might add that LaSalle beat Manhattan tonight, and Larry Courts out of Wilkes-Barre scored 11 points.
Okay, good for him. Thank you, Joe. And in a moment, there's a breakthrough in the Nanticoke teachers dispute.
And we'll be going live to Nanticoke with Bob Costantini in just one moment.
Let's go right to Bob Costantini now, live in Nanticoke, where negotiations were going on in a teacher's contract dispute. Bob, the latest?
Karen and Nolan, the talks have basically stopped for now here in Nanticoke. Apparently, according to Teachers Union spokesman Ed Pyshinsky, there were 5 proposals made to end this strike here, and the board has rejected all of them. Now, some of the angry parents, after hearing some of Pyshinsky's statements, came and got the board, and apparently the board has agreed to stay through the night, and it could be a very long night here at Nanticoke High School. Bob Costantini, live with the Instacam in Nanticoke. Nolan and Karen?
Okay, thank you, Bob. And we'd like to apologize. We will not have the story of Lucky the Turtle for you tonight. We hope to have it for you tomorrow.
That's our report for this night. Have a good night. Nightline is next.
Good night.